week's episode of Dragon Ball Super, Goku and Vegeta only have 5 days to prepare for the ultimate martial arts tournament between the 7th and 6th universes, and Bulma creates a brand new Super Dragon radar to look for the Super Dragon Balls. The countdown to badassery begins in this week's episode, my friends. This was a charming and just plain delightful episode of Super Dragon Ball, which totally felt like an old episode of Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball as the characters were preparing for the next big tournament. In fact, this entire tournament is going to be based on the Budokai Tenkaichi. This is actually something that was suggested by Goku, and Champa is pretty down with the idea. So him and Vados go to this mysterious nameless planet, and they create this big battle ring with food stands, people who can spectate, and each side of the ring will have these big massive portraits of Beerus and Champa. Champa is not too happy with his portrait because he feels it makes him look a little too fat. That's just Champa being Champa. The fact of the matter is, this scene is really cool and just really inviting and mystical and magical. It's very similar to that one scene from the Cell Saga when he was preparing for the Cell games by creating his own personal ring. Here, though, it's done with a little more mysticism and it's just more fun. I can't wait to see how this is all going to play out. The rest of the episode, however, is dedicated to the Super Dragon Balls, getting to see them for the very first time, and the fact that they actually exist within the 7th and the 6 universes, so Bulma and their group are going to try and collect them as quick as possible. Now, what's really interesting here is that Bulma is just completely paranoid. She wants to collect the Super Dragon Balls so that they can actually stop Beerus. She's afraid that he's eventually going to destroy everything, but Goku and Vegeta have hung out with Beerus and Whis for a long enough time to realize that they're only going to do something like that if they have a really good reason to do it. Although, I'm still kind of leaning on Bulma's side. Beerus is kind of unpredictable in how he tends to destroy things. I mean, if he eats something that he doesn't like, that could be it for the planet Earth. And there is a little bit of ominous nature when he's looking at Bulma and doing that. Maybe he's just messing with her head a little bit, but it is really funny how she just wants to do this, and Goku and Vegeta don't even worry at all. They're just more excited and concerned about the tournament. But in order to find the Super Dragon Balls, they're going to have to take this radar and go to the center of the universe. That way they'll be able to track them all down. However, it's not going to be that easy, so they're going to need a little bit of help. And Bulma gets that from her sister, who also ends up calling Jacko the Galactic Patrolman, so we're definitely going to see the return of that character. It's very obvious that they wanted to include this other spin-off character from Dragon Ball in this series, and I think they're doing a pretty good job of it. But arguably the most exciting thing about this episode is the fact that Beerus is going to look for a fighter by the name of Monaka, who is the most powerful fighter he has ever faced. Even more powerful than Goku. Yes, there is another being in his universe that has strength that's even beyond him, and we're going to have to wait to see him in action. People who read the manga already know what this character is like, but yet, even in the manga version, they haven't really revealed what this fighter is all about. I can't wait to see how they're going to introduce him in the anime version. I know it's going to leave a lot of people scratching their heads and probably laughing a lot, but at the end of the day, Dragon Ball characters, you cannot judge them by their appearances. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super? This one was great. What I really love about it at the end of the day was just, it felt classic to me. Not to mention, it was a really funny episode. I think the funniest scene was when they actually decided to summon the dragon to make a wish and try to figure out more about the Super Dragon Balls and all the different universes, and the dragon couldn't help him. It's all beyond his power, and of course he's sweating and nervous and his voice is cracking because Beerus is standing there. But what's even funnier is they don't even make a wish. The dragon just disappears, and Goku even realizes, wait a minute, I could have wished King Kai back to life. Oh well, maybe next time. It's just so crazy that King Kai has now been officially relegated to side character comedy status. Considering that he taught Goku most of his signature techniques, that's crazy. Although I guess he doesn't really use the Kaioken all that much anymore. What would happen if he used Kaioken with his god body, though? I think that would be pretty awesome. And then, of course, there's Vegeta, who has officially been house-trained by Beerus. It is so funny how he just is completely afraid of him and basically tries to treat him almost like a military superior. It's a very weird change of pace for Vegeta, but honestly, I like it. It really shows how far he's come in the series, how at the beginning, he was such a stern villain, he started a family, he didn't truly want to accept it, and then at the end of the Majin Buu saga, he decided that he needed to start thinking about this a little bit more, and he realized that he actually cared about his family, and you can see that in this story right here. You can see how much Vegeta has changed, and for some odd reason, I think that's really cool, and all at the same time, he's still completely badass. On the technical side of things, this was a pretty good-looking episode. The character artwork, as usual, was pretty sharp. There really wasn't any crazy action scenes from this episode, but everything looked really cool. I especially loved the look of the planet they're going to have the tournament, just the red look of it, the Dragon Balls that are just glistening and surrounding all of it. The look of everything just looks nice, clean, and crisp. I really can't wait to see how they're going to start destroying that when they start fighting each other. So yes, I really loved this episode of Dragon Ball Super. It was a build-up episode, but it was also brand new material, and I loved all of it, and I love how the characters are changing. The preview for the next episode looks awesome, because it looks like Piccolo and Gohan are finally going to get back to the training, and they're also going to pick out some more of the fighters who are going to be on the team, and we might even get our very first glimpse at Monaka, so let's get excited for that. We might even get to see some teases of some of the fighters from the 6th universe. So this was a pretty solid episode of Dragon Ball Super. Some of the artwork moments were a little iffy, but for the most part, this was a pretty fun build-up episode of Dragon Ball Super. So I'm going to give this week's episode a 4 out of 5. Check it out, Dragon Ball fans! You might see something you like. But if you did watch this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. Did you have a favorite scene from this episode? Are you excited for the big tournament? What fighters do you want to see from Universe 7? And what do you want to see from the rest of Dragon Ball Super? Make sure to tell me in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching this review. You're awesome. Make sure to like the video if you would like and to subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.